But anyway, the main event tonight. So we watched a little movie by Jordan Peele entitled Nope.
Hmm.
Now, like I said, I know that like normally we don't really cover new movies as our main event, but I particularly liked this one, and I thought that this needed a discussion. So, like I said, because it is new, full disclosure, there's going to be some heavy ass spoilers, like the whole thing, like the meaning behind things, everything. So, just throwing that out there. Now, have you seen the other two movies that he put out? What was it? Get Out, and then what was it? Us, I think it was
I
called.
I haven't finished Us, but I did watch Get Out, and I enjoyed it, and I loved Us for the point up to I watched it, especially the opening. I thought that
Hmm.
was especially eerie.
Uh, I have been watching Jordan with like excitement with everything that he's been doing because like all I really ever knew him from was Key and Peele.
Hmm.
And then like I heard that he was going to start making horror movies and shit, and I was just like, "What? Like a comedian?" Like, and shame on me for fucking. I mean, now look at where we Danny McBride, fucking Chris Rock did that fucking Saw movie, fucking like everybody's fucking. And I'm like, well, what the fuck?
J.J. Abrams restored Phantasm for us. Don't forget that.
It's true. Um, but what was it when Get Out came out? When Get Out came out, well, I saw the trailer, and again, shame on me. I saw the trailer and I thought, I'm like, this is gonna be another angry movie where the white guy's the bad guy and it's gonna be ridiculous. And I'm not saying that it's not 100% that, but it was done in a way that was not that as well.
Yeah.
What really, what really made me pay attention to him was watching that movie for the first time. And in the opening part of that movie, where him and his girlfriend are driving to her family's place in the beginning, and they get pulled over by the police. And I'm like, oh, here we go. She got more offended than the dude. And I was just like, hold up. I'm like, okay, he's doing something here. Oh shit, Sparrow.
16 months from our favorite Sparrow. How are you, sir?
Thank you, sir. Hope you are having a good Wednesday. But I saw that and I'm like, oh shit, he's not doing the low hanging fruit move. You know what I mean? And no, no worries, sir, no worries.
Glad to have you.
Just in time, sir. We're just now getting into talking about Nope. Right now I'm talking about Get Out. um, but yeah, that's that opening scene where the white girlfriend got more pissed off than the actual black dude about getting pulled over, and he's just like, calm the fuck down. You know what I mean? And I'm like, all right, I'm paying attention. You know what I mean? And I'm like, he's doing this the right way. He's smart about this. And I loved that movie. I thought it was great.
Oh yeah.
Uh, Us, I really liked. That one I thought was harder to grasp the bigger ideas.
Hmm.
It was a cool, creepy movie, but you may watch that movie and have no idea what he's trying to say.
He may have done an Italian movie, is what you just told me, so I'm sold.
Right. This one, nope. I felt like I got like okay, the main big things I got. Like this one was a little bit more accessible, I think. Way like it's on par with Get Out, but it's not as deep and like you really have to like do your research and shit for us. Um, but this one I got. Um, I liked that uh apparently this because the movie is set up like it's an alien spaceship. And then, of course, later on, like I said, spoilers, I'm sorry. Later on, we discover that it is not a ship, it's an actual creature in and of itself. Um, that kind of, that was kind of supposed, and with the setting and like being in the film world and everything in this movie, that was supposed to represent Hollywood because it sucks you up, it spits you out. the old saying.
Yep.
And I was just like, well, that's fucking cool. I like that. I really like that. And I really dug I really dug the shoe. Now the shoe I had to look into and I had to rewatch a particular scene, but I did kind of figure that out. Because there's the whole scene with I just kept calling him Glenn. I don't know what his fucking real name is or his character's name is, but it's Glenn from The Walking Dead, the owner of Jupiter's Claim in the movie. Apparently, when he was younger, he was a child star on a sitcom that was like it almost kind of like reminded me of like a Harry and the Hendersons, but with a monkey, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And it was more like sitcom-y. But, you know, well, it was a fucking sitcom. Anyway, um, and apparently this monkey goes fucking ape shit and fucking kills people on set. Like it killed some of the actors. It fucked up that girl because she
Oh
showed up
yeah.
later. And that was based off something too. There was like I saw a clip too that was based off of a real event, not the sitcom aspect of it, but there was like some woman that like worked with apes or something like that, and not Jane Goodall because she's still fine, I believe, but some other woman, and that's what she ended up looking like, unfortunately. Like she did like a Barbara Walters interview. Um, so that was based off that, but I liked that because in that scene, there's just this one shoe with a little spot of blood on it, and it's standing straight up, like it's like heel and the toe is pointing up at the sky, and like everybody's like, I liked the movie, I just didn't understand what the fucking shoe was, and I was just like, okay, I need to figure out what the shoe is because it is kind of bothering me. But then I looked into it, so the main thing, I guess, how they escape the alien is like you can't. Well, I don't want to say escape it, but a good tool is to not look at it. Don't look at it. And in the beginning of the movie, there's a scene where uh our main star, I can't pronounce his name. I feel so bad. But his character's name is OJ, and I remember that because it's like, your name's OJ? It's like Otis Jr. Like that old white lady got scared, like, your name's OJ? And I'm like, I like that. That was funny.
We got a hearty chuckle.
But he's got the horse on set and shit, like he's kind of not digging it because he's just like nobody's listening to him. He doesn't even really know if he wants to even be a part of this business because they're animal wranglers for movies, and they got the horse on set. Nobody's listening to him, and then when they bring up that, what is that, by the way, Gabe? That before they start shooting, they have that reflective orb that they move around to like check shit. You know what I'm talking about?
I don't know what it's called.
Do you know what I'm talking about though?
Yeah, because they put it right in front of the horse's face.
Yeah, is that to like check for like light reflections and shit like that before you start filming? Like maybe you can see the camera in a shot or something, like in a reflection. They're checking. It's for drilling it. Yeah.
I did watch Phantasm 1 while I ate lunch today, so that's funny enough. I'm assuming so. You should be able to pick up any kind of light, and also, actually, let's get technical for a second. Because of how it was set up, it might be checking for the 180-degree rule, which is when you film, you don't break the 180-degree plane. You're not supposed to.
Okay. But they bring that orb up, and it's only then when it's like turned to reflective to the horse in front of the horse's face, and the guy holding it, his eyes look at the horse, and that's when the horse kicked the bag and scared the shit out of everybody. Because he looked the horse in the eyes like you're not supposed to do with the alien. Now, this is what I thought was cool because it actually kind of explains Glenn's character. I'm sorry, I'm just going to keep calling him Glenn. But it explains his character, I think, because you keep seeing the flashbacks. And when, he has that whole shrine in his office, he's got the shoe, he's got the party hat that the monkey was wearing. Like, he feels special that he survived that. Like, he feels that him and this monkey had some sort of special bond, and that's why he survived. Because like the whole fist bump thing at the end,
That hurt my feels a little bit.
just kind of like how he thinks that he's got some sort of special bond with that fucking alien thing, but it's false. Everything about it's false because there's no supernatural explanation behind that shoe. It just there's a scene where the main character and his sister are talking, and they're talking about bad miracles. And I thought this was awesome. That shoe was his bad miracle because the reason he really survived was that shoe took his attention. He didn't look the monkey in the eyes. And even when he was like looking at either looking at the fist or that little bit of tablecloth was just over the monkey's eyes. Like there was never a moment where he could directly look the monkey in the eyes. That's why he survived.
That is some well placed symbolism.
Mm-hmm. So, like I said, the shoe isn't like something super special. It's just a bad miracle. And you can't explain miracles; they just happen. And like like I said, it made him think that he has this special. It's like nobody has a special connection with. It's like you just learn to live with it and work with it the best you can. But you can't control something like that. There was the whole controlling thing of creatures. Like even our main characters, like we wanted them to survive, but what were they trying? They were trying to get that impossible shot. They were trying to control that creature
Yeah.
to get the shot. And it's like you can't control shit like that. And I love it was funny too because well before like when the movie opens, it kind of shows you glimpses of the monkey attack and you don't really understand the context of it until you meet the character later. But it was funny too because as that was happening, I was talking to my wife and I was like, "It's Mr. Peepers." And then he goes into that story from SNL and is like mentioning Chris Kattan, and I'm like, "What the fuck?"
I liked the meta aspect of it that particular thing existed in their world, and the Scorpion King.
The Scorpion
existed.
King, yeah, that was that was fucking funny. Um, and it kind of like there's some sort of symbolism in there too, where like the main character he's got to make that ride with the horse and shit and the tornado and everything, and they keep showing that their great grandfather was the first dude on film with the horse. Like there's some sort of symbolism in him repeating that. Um, but no, I really dug this movie. Like, cause like I really wanted to check out Jordan Peele's Twilight Zone series. I never did. I heard it didn't really go over too well, but I don't even know if it's still a thing. I think it might even got canceled. But I think that's a shame. But you can tell the man's love for like series like that and shit just based off this movie.
Oh yeah.
Like I watched a lot of interviews with him like doing press for this movie and I'm just like I've never wanted to sit down with somebody and just fucking chill. Like I don't even want to interview him, I just want to chill and like talk geek shit.
Watch some old Twilight Zone with the guy.
Yeah.
Pick his brain.
And now of course I have to mention the badass moment that I was just like, all right, that was a nice touch. The moment with the sister on the bike doing the Akira slide. Now, talk anime, but we're about to. Apparently, at one point, they came to Jordan to direct the live action Akira, but he has such reverence for it that he's like, I don't want to be the one to fuck it up. So he turned it down.
My man.
And he put that slide in there as like his homage for the love of the series.
In hindsight, thinking about the monster and everything being something that Hollywood chews up and spits out, the Scorpion King jacket makes a whole lot of sense now.
Yep.
Because that movie was a direct result of The Rock being in The Mummy Returns, and it was chewed up and spit out.
Mm-hmm.
So, and the little Akira slide's a nice touch too. Also, thank you, Jordan Peele, for having enough respect to the source material to say, No.
I feel bad because like I believe that Taika Waititi's in charge of doing it now.
I
With
did watch Love and Thunder,
oh
by the way.
yeah. Wasn't Gore badass? And you're like, hey, he went. They should have kept him.
That movie was full steam ahead up until about the halfway to three-quarters point, and it just fell apart.
Mhm. It was a damn shame. But uh, the only reason that I immediately got pissed off, like now, I hope that it changes because this was years ago when I read this. But as far as I know, it's still the plan. I read part of the opening of what this Akira movie is supposed to be, and they say it's Neo Manhattan. And I'm like, nope. And I'm like, keep it in Tokyo.
Neo Tokyo is such a staple. It's a thing. Why
I mean,
Neo Manhattan?
and it's like there is all that symbolism about like the bombs being dropped on there. Like you're taking that away if you make it in America.
Oh my god. Unless they're going to take away the bombs getting dropped, and they're going to go the Freedom Tower route.
Oh, that I'm not saying that you should never do something like that, but that's in bad. I think that would,
That is in
especially
bad
with,
taste.
especially a corporate incorporating that with an Akira film. Yeah, yeah, that
That's
would be
really
bad.
bad.
That would be bad. Um, but I mean, like I said, I mean, if they make that shit, I'll watch it.
I mean,
I may watch it just to shit on it the whole time, but I mean, who knows? I've been surprised before.
I, I mean, if you depending on how you interpret the storyboards and stuff from the Metal Gear Solid 5 Lost level, I mean, it's implied that Liquid Snake's the one that caused 9/11. So, I mean, there's a chance that you know, they could pull it off, but I would be eggshell walking on that and just put it in Tokyo because everybody
I
likes
wouldn't
Neo
work on that
Tokyo.
production. I wouldn't
I
work on it. I'm like, I'll watch from the sidelines to see what happens, but I don't need to be signed up.
Nope.
But I really, really I liked all the messages in this movie. I thought it was a fun story, even if you don't go in looking for that kind of thing. Um, it was just, I thought it was fun. It it wasn't goofy. Like at some point, I was just like, "This is the route we're going. It's a creature, okay." But it just never bothered me. Like I felt the good vibes from Langoliers at one point, especially when like all the keys and coins and shit were falling down. Like like I honestly want to ask him because those kids that like the Glenn's kids that were trying to fuck with the dude dressed up as the aliens and shit. Um, I want to ask him. I'm like, dude, did you watch McPherson tape? Because I'm like, there was a lot of shit in there. Where I'm like, this is just McPherson tape. It's not to a certain point.
I wouldn't be surprised. Because and I might be misquoting, and if I am wrong, I apologize. But I think he actually, I think Jordan Peele was a curator on Shutter for a while, and if he was,
That would make
McPherson
sense.
tapes in the catalog. Yeah.
Oh, that. See, I wish you hadn't said that because now I'm fantasizing because I know that Elijah Wood has done some similar shit with Shutter like that,
Yeah, he's still on their board, I think.
and I'm like, I would love to see Elijah Wood and Jordan Peele work together. Like, just make some weird fucked up movie.
Elijah Wood did the Maniac remake, and it's one of the best remakes that nobody talks about, and they should because it is phenomenally uncomfortable to watch. First person camera view through the killer's eyes the entire time.
Well, shit, he creeped me out in Sin City, and that's a movie that I don't think that should creep you out.
I don't know, it's pretty creepy. They did a good job with it. But get them in there
Ooh,
to
yeah.
do
Dude, Daniel Radcliffe, throw him in there. Fuck yeah, he's down for some weird shit. I saw Guns Akimbo, or whatever it was.
Elijah Wood and Jordan Peele remake Phenomena. Get
What?
weird with it.
So would you be switching out Jennifer Connelly for? No, no, Elijah Wood's a little too old to be school. I mean, he's got the baby face, but I don't think it could carry him as a high school student.
Donald Pleasence's character.
See, now I think he might be too young for that. But
Well, I don't think he's aged since 2002.
I mean, the only difference, like, okay, there was Deep Impact Elijah Wood, and then there's Lord of the Rings and Forward.
Wait, no, wrong Argento movie. Inferno, the sequel to Suspiria,
Ooh.
because Jordan Peele can make a color palette pop. I mean,
Yeah,
this proved it because every scene looked like it was run through the Technicolor process. Elijah Wood as the Mark McCluskey character.
I'd watch it.
Get that Goblin soundtrack we never got for it, because Claudio Simonetti is still kicking. I mean,
I just had a random thought, and it's not. I'm not fully because it kind of goes against something I've said before, but I would be in. I'm not saying I can't say that I wouldn't be interested. Give it 20 more years. Let some gray, a little bit of gray, a little bit of age try to touch Elijah Wood. So give it like another 20 years or so.
at least 20.
At least 20 years. Do you remake Jaws and have Elijah Wood be the main character? Just based off the look. It goes again, because like I said, I don't think they should ever remake Jaws. But if they had to, 20 years from now, I'm sure it'll happen before then. But
All right, my opinion on remakes.
Right.
Remake shitty movies or movies that didn't get a good shake, and that's why I chose Inferno, because it's considered kind of. Although I think it's getting
getting up there.
It's getting up there again because people are starting to appreciate. But
Well, they did the newer Suspiria, so I'm sure that somewhere down the road.
that was exactly what I was about to say, because the Suspiria remake is actually very good. It is a completely different take on the movie. It is not colorful at all compared to the original. It is East German as fuck, I believe was how I described it when I watched it originally. But you could do something with a little bit more of a modern take on it, and as long as you separate the source material and still pay respect to it in a way like they did, I think you can go for it and it would be fine. Jaws, I'm having a hard time wrapping my head around because it's not the perfect movie. I know people like to say that, and I cringe.
I wouldn't say
bit.
Jaws is a perfect movie. It's a damn good movie, but I wouldn't say it's perfect.
It's one of the best creature features out there. Make Jaws a megalodon with nuke breath. See, like, I'd be okay with that. Bring it on. But with the modern mindset, because spoiler alert, people have forgotten that sharks live in the fucking ocean apparently, and everybody gets surprised when there's a shark attack. Actually, this might be the best time to strike while the iron's hot, just go for it.
Well, my main concern, I mean, other than just the fact that it's like we don't need another remake, but my main concern with doing a Jaws now is you're never gonna do the animatronic again. That shit has been written down, well documented that it was a nightmare making that fucking movie just because of that shark.
Oh yeah.
2, I don't think that you could throw a James Cameron fucking budget at making a digital fucking shark. I still don't think I would buy it as Jaws.
The one thing that the animatronic had going for it at the end of the day, and it looks great still. I mean, I don't really see much of an issue with it. When you think about Robert Shaw's speech about having doll's eyes, the animatronic eyes were empty. And that was horrifying in hindsight going back and watching, because watching it as a kid, I'm not paying attention to the eyes. I'm paying attention to the chomp chomp.
You're not even
The
paying
razor
attention
teeth.
to dude's fucking speech either.
Yeah, and it's hard to understand because he was fucking hammered when he gave it in real life. But as I got older and I'm listening to the Indianapolis speech, which is already terrifying to think about, and then when he gets killed later on and you look at the shark's eyes, they are empty. They are pools of darkness that go to nothing. And that's more power than you could get, I think, off of a computer generated one, because there's going to be something artificial about it that doesn't quite mesh with the artificial world of the film. Also, yes, spare.
Oh yeah. I got eaten by a motherfucking shark. On
his tombstone.
Now, speaking of creatures here, at one point, our saucer-esque creature, which I would kind of equate to like a manta ray or a stingray. I don't know if those are the same thing with just different names or what, but it kind of is like that, just without the tail. But by the end of the thing, it fucking morphs into this like crazy sheet creature thing. Now, A, how did you think that looked? And B, like I said, I feel like if this was any other movie and somebody tried to do that, you'd be like, what the fuck are you doing? But for some reason, some weird reason, it didn't bother. I'm like, this is fine. I'm cool with this. I liked the green square mouth thing, whatever the fuck it was coming out at the end. Like, there was just something where I'm like, this is absolutely fucking weird. And there's not going to be an explanation of it. This isn't one of those movies. And I mean, I'm a lore whore, so I would like it, but you don't need you don't need to know where this thing came from. You don't need to know why it, like I said, they just assume what it's trying to do. It matches up with what's happening, and you're like, all right, that's good.
But leaving things up to your own interpretations of horror.
I mean, and actually, now that I think about it, kind of goes hand in hand with the story too, where it's like you can't control the creature because you don't actually have a bond. So it's like you're not going to know anyway. You don't know what that monkey's thinking. You don't know what the horse is thinking. So it's like you don't need the answer. So, but for some reason, like I said, when it turned into its final form, if you will, I was like, I'm fine with this. I'm buying it. It elevated the movie. Like I felt like it made it more intense.
Yeah, I told you I had to walk the dog at one point during the movie, so I had the movie up on my phone, and I was out there with Zito, and I looked down, and I was like, did a giant cowboy hat just suck them up? Because I can't see the top. Because at one point I thought, is it a giant cowboy hat that's killing people? Because that would be awesome. I would be sold on it off of that alone. Like it's some odd phobia that's actually sucking everybody up, and that's why they couldn't actually get it on film the way they wanted to. But as it transformed and it was a 10.
You wouldn't I laugh, but at the same time you wouldn't be wrong for thinking that, because there's a lot of scenes with the cowboy hats in this movie, especially with them getting blown off because of the little mini tornadoes of it getting sucked up.
Yeah, it tracks with what they were, and if they, I don't think Jordan Peele was doing the X-Files thing where it was like your greatest fear come alive sort of deal is what's going to take you, but it would have tracked. But as it evolved up until that, when it reached its final form, if you will, I was sold on it, because what we assume of alien origin is what we see in movies. So anytime it goes from saucer shape to whatever the fuck that was at the end.
Essentially, it turns into Sin from Final Fantasy X, but just like the sheet version.
Right. It has breadth to it. So I thought Jordan Peele wanted to hit a home run with this, and something in a plot that is absurd as this. If you don't go fully absurd by the end, you're missing out on what's already keeping us there anyway, which was this movie was wild as shit, and we were on for the ride, hanging on for dear life, and I think the payoff was good. And plus, we got the Akira slide at the end. So,
Um, I liked. There wasn't really a character I didn't like. There were two that I thought were questionable, but they didn't really bother me. I thought when they met the guy, the electronic tech dude, Angel, I was like, oh, this is gonna be like an annoying dude, and he's gonna be like the he's gonna be like the first to get killed because he's just like that guy.
yeah.
But he kind of like I'm like he's a smart dumb guy, or he's a dumb smart guy. That's what it was, because it's like he wrapped himself up in that tarp and barbed wire because he's like it ain't gonna eat me now.
Well,
Of course, he had to wrap himself in barbed wire to do it. So dumb smart guy. Um, but no, the two that kind of were like meh to me was first of all the TMZ guy on the bike. Like that was just an excuse to get a bike in there. Which she should have had anyway because she mentions that she rides bikes. Um but you needed to get another kill in there, I guess. I'm not going to deny that scene where he was just like, "What's going to happen when the electric bike hits an anti-electronic field going 60 miles an hour?" And he's just driving, and then it hits the field, and he just flies off the bike as the bike stops immediately. He's like, "Oh." That shit was hilarious. But then, while I understood his character, I just thought he acted a tad on the weird side. Was the film guy, the director guy. Like he was cool, and I got where he was coming from, like with like what his character was and everything, but he was just like that dark, raspy, like, yeah, we're weird. I always
that's his
talk like
thing.
this. It's like Batman, like Christian Bale Batman, and he's just like, I always talk like this.
I think he talks like that in Alien Resurrection as well.
I like John Carpenter's role.
I didn't see the guy smoking weed playing Assassin's Creed in this one. That was a missed opportunity, I guess. Because Hollywood tried to chew him up and spit him out, and he signed the check and moved on.
Well, I liked the subtlety of just like when they first call him and he's in his like apartment or house or whatever, and he's just like fucking around on his computer. He's watching all of these like National Geographic style videos of predators attacking their prey. And
Yeah.
it's just like that's exactly what this is gonna be for him. So like I'm like he wants that impossible. Like I get it. I get his character. I get the motivation. Um
He's just weird.
it's just weird. Uh in the event, one thing that I'm just gonna call this now because if it does end up happening, I want to be able to say I said that shit. Uh, I don't know if I don't think that this would be is the type. Jordan Peele doesn't seem the type to do sequels of his movies. So I doubt that there would be a sequel to this. But in the odd event that there was, or if you're able to work it into whatever the next movie is, uh, because of how the creature goes out, the creature does die at the end, and it always regurgitates all the or poop. We were having a discussion. We're like, is it pooping it out? Is it puking it out? Not really sure. But because it sucks up the people, and then the shit that it can't digest, like keys, wallets, coins, it kind of just spits that out. Um, it would be kind of cool if like that, because he had the camera as he got sucked up. If somebody found the camera, and in the next movie you saw his footage, like of when he's going up. Oh shit! Really? Okay.
Okay. I would be okay. Jordan Peele does a found footage movie, but in the style of Cannibal Holocaust with it being framed. I'd be okay with a Jordan Peele frame narrative like that. Like that.
Um,
Okay.
Speaking of all the coins and shit coming down from this guy, I thought it was cool. Uh, in the beginning, we had a small cameo of Otis's dad, who unfortunately got killed on the horse because a coin went through his fucking head because it was coming down. But that was our boy Keith David, and I was like, fuck yeah.
I was so pumped up about seeing his name in the cast list, and then that happened.
Well, um, me see. Yeah, OJ Hayward. I'm trying to remember these characters' names. OJ Hayward was the main dude. Emerald was the sister. Angel, of course. The deep our John Carpenter dude. Antlers. His name was Antlers. Okay. Antlers Hoist. Ricky was Glenn's name. It was Ricky Jupe Park. So Jupiter Park, and that makes sense. But no, overall though, I really, really dug it. I liked all the hidden shit. Yeah, Keith David's fucking awesome. I didn't particularly care when they threw him in that sequel for Tales from the Hood, but I'm not gonna blame him. Uh, but I liked like I said, I feel bad saying that this movie is like more accessible than Us because it makes me feel like I'm dumb. But but no, Us I think is good. It just had a very complex meaning that you'd have to like not only would you have to look up the shit that it's talking about, you'd have to like investigate the specific shit you're looking up as well. Like, okay, what is that? That's what it's talking about, but what is that? This, I think it was a little bit easier to grasp, the whole connections with Hollywood. Um, I really liked the whole aspect of Bad Miracle. The biblical verse, well, it's not a biblical verse. I think it was again, forgive me, whatever the Jewish Bible is that the Torah maybe, or is there like another thing?
I think it's the Torah, yeah.
Yeah, I could be fucking wrong, but I think it's from whatever the Jewish Bible is. That's what that quote from the beginning was. And it's all about making spectacles of things that you shouldn't make spectacles of, and it's like if you try to, it's like I will make a spectacle out of you then. And I was thinking of that Torah, and okay, yeah. Um, Aside from the amazing shots, just of like the setting of everything, all those hills and shit like that, but that scene when it's storming and it's over the house and it's just raining the blood and all the stuff from it's soaked up from Jupiter Park, like parts of the sign are falling down, and you just have that wide pulled back shot of the house, and I was just like, that's fucking gold right there. I love that. Um, and the people getting sucked up at the park and like showing them get like that was disturbing, even though you had
Yeah.
no idea what the fuck was going on. Like you could just see the claustrophobia, and you're just like, oh god, they're gonna get digested. Like they're gonna get compressed and digested.
One thing that scene did really well was taking a wide open space and turning it into a closet.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought the same thing. I was like, this is kind of fucked up. I mean, this is really fucked up at the end of the day, but I mean, like in particular, that all of a sudden they're all chill in here in what should be a wide open space, but now all of a sudden it feels very compact, and then you see it actually being compact. That is turning everything on its head a lot, and I like that. That's
And it's just it's creepy. Oh. No, I watched the movie and I'm like, okay, this is gonna be a quick review, like early topic, and then we'll talk about whatever. And I was just like, no, I think this needs to be the main event movie. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, and what made it I thought even creepier was like after it, like anytime there was a scene where it like ate people like that, and then you saw it flying over shit, you could hear everybody screaming still inside of it.
yeah.
That was fucking creepy.
That was when I made my fire in the sky comment, because that's still haunting my dreams to this day.
I watched that again not too long ago. That's such a good fucking movie.
Creepy
um,
as fuck.
but no, Nope is fucking awesome. I really, really dug it. I think it's fun, even if you don't. Um, I think it was Hollywood in general, but there were a lot of other specific metaphors in there. But I did notice that, like, just the alien itself. Like I said, it's like Hollywood. It sucks you up and spits you out.
It might be teetering the line on a bit of both there.
Yeah, but I think that you can enjoy this movie even if you don't get things like that. I think it helps if you at least pay attention to the bad miracle part, because I think that was the main thing, was like everybody that I watched talk about it was just like, I just didn't get the shoe. And I was like, I didn't get it my first go around either, so I'm not gonna, like, but the whole bad miracle dialogue, I'm like, oh, okay, I get it now. It's like I said, the shoe really, it's something, but it's nothing. Like, in the grand scheme of things, it's nothing. It has nothing to do with the alien. There's no solution found in the shoe. It's just like a small part of a smaller story in the movie. That kind of has like an overall similar tone, where, like I said, he was not looking at the monkey. It was more about him not looking at the monkey than the shoe itself. Um, but everybody acted well. Like I said, the only people that the TMZ guy bothered me the most, but I thought that shit was funny though. Still, the goofy cameraman. Uh, I liked when he showed up finally. She's like, "I told you he was gonna bring a non-electric camera," and they got so excited.
I felt the hype off of that one myself.
Like, I told you he was smart. But no, I thought this was a great fucking movie. Um, yeah, like I said, I didn't like him, but the whole thing with the bike and him flying off the bike, that was worth it. That was worth it.
The
Um,
faceless paparazzi got their comeuppance.
all in all, I there is a lot of me that wants to give this a 4, but I'm trying to be a little more reserved on my 4s because I'm like, not everything can be a phantasm. Not everything can, be Return of the Living Dead, but this was damn enjoyable. Like, I remember, my only fear is, like, I remember coming out of the newer It movies, and I was like pretty excited, like pumped about that. But then, like, when I like got home later and a few months had passed and I rewatched it, I'm like, I still dig the first one, but I'm like, the second one, I'm like, ah, no, kind of thing. And it's like, I feel that kind of hype after watching this. I don't think it's gonna. I just hope it won't deteriorate in a few months, because this is something I'm like, I would buy a copy of this for sure. Um, so like I said, I don't want to just hand out 4s all willy nilly. But so I'm gonna go 3.5. But I feel like it's a 4. It could be a 4. Give it some years to age, and then people can look back on it. And then maybe it can earn its 4. But as of right now, 3.5.
I don't think you necessarily need to be reserved with your 4s though, because there's a full catalog of 4 stars, and we just so happen to hit a lot of them because I take recommendations from Joe Bob, and I'm like, okay, yeah, like 1990 Bronx Warriors. I think we talked about that before. The only reason I knew about it was because he made a passing comment about it on Last Drive-In, and I said, okay, we'll watch that
Check
and
that
see
out.
what happens. I'm abstaining.
Fair enough, because of the whole dog situation.
The dog situation was bad enough, but this is, I don't want to use the term elevated horror because you already know how I feel about that, and how I think it's pompous, and people who use it seriously really do need to take a step back and just say I enjoy horror movies. But this movie's academic at the end of the day, and a lot of his stuff is even down to his Twilight Zone. Was kind of academic, because if you're having to talk thematics, metaphors, and it's not a one issue movie in its social commentary, and it's layered like this, I don't think I can do it. I don't think I can give it a fair score just by watching it once and then having to take the dogs out and watch it on my phone too. Kind of took away from the experience. So I'm gonna abstain from now, and I will more than likely update it down the line. Because from what I saw of it, I was also um, it's horror I actually like, but I actually hate horror. Yeah, I mean, there's an episode of Fright Fest Theater coming up where I absolutely rag doll that term. So I will continue to do that on here as well because it is pretentious if you do that. But I think there's a lot more to this one, and I don't want to preemptively give it the 3.5, even though I do think it deserves it because Jordan Peele hasn't really let me down yet with anything. But I also want to digest it properly, no pun intended, and not just spit out a review that doesn't equate to how I feel with it because the movie is mysterious and weird enough on its own, and I do like the symbolism, and I do like the kind of, is uncertainty the best word to describe this movie? Because there's a lot of it. I feel like with what they think they're seeing versus what they think is happening versus what is actually happening versus what they're actually seeing. I kind of like that notion of it, and I wanna deep dive it a little bit closer. So I will abstain today.
Fair enough. One last, because like I like what you said because it's true. This movie surprisingly has layers. Like to what it, like I said, you can enjoy it face value for what it is, and it's fine. But there are meanings and hidden things in there and whatnot. One small little character thing that I thought was cool that a lot of people did I don't think noticed, but in the beginning, like before, like when OJ is there with the horse, and before the horse sees the reflection, scares everybody or whatever, she's running late, and then she runs in, and then she does the whole presentation, safety thing, and all that stuff, and she's talking about her great great grandfather. Now, in the presentation in the beginning in the movie, you see her go, "That's my great great grandfather," and you see OJ behind her. He goes, "There's another great," like, and she has to like ad lib that. There's a reason for that because it shows later on in the movie she's watching a tape of their dad do the same speech, and she just learned to copy it. Now, to the dad, since he's a generation up, there's only two greats, and she memorized it. She never counted herself to add the third great. Because, like she said, this ain't my main shit. It's just my side hustle. And I'm just
That's
like,
good.
I'm like, small shit like that, you know?
Chekhov's speech. Since we do Chekhov's gun for everything,
Yeah.
we'll adapt it here. That's a really really nice touch, and that mm, we had a good 24 hours of that because Bird with the Crystal Plumage did the same thing with the killer at the beginning too. So I'm on to you, Jordan Peele. You're knocking it out of the park with details, and that is
Yeah.
nice.
I'm looking forward, like, because I mean, like, when we look at the horror greats, like, I mean, Stephen King ain't gonna be around much longer. John Carpenter ain't gonna be around much longer. We brought up Tom Savini. He's in his late 70s. Like, all of these people are like, we still harp on the 80s people, Like,
Yep.
I check Barb Campton's fucking Twitter every goddamn day.
Love her.
Love her. But like, really, in terms of like longevity of like, who's somebody that I can look forward to, like, when I get into like my 60s and shit like that? Because I mean, they ain't gonna be around anymore. And I'm like, Jordan Peele seems like he could be one of those guys. And I'm like, I like what you've been doing. I like how you carry yourself and the way you present shit. So I'm really gonna pay. I've paid attention to him pretty well so far, but like this definitely, I'm like, all right, you're more than just like something I'm gonna put on the radar. Like I'm like, all right, like no, I'm invested in paying attention to the shit you're doing.
Yeah, he's on that list. Spare brought up a good
Oh,
point.
oh,
Eggers.
fuck yeah, him too. I've loved everything he's done too.
Edgar Wright, I would put on that list. Let's see. There's another one. The guy that did The Guest which we will watch at some point if you've never seen it. It is fantastic. Um, and David Gordon Green,
Yeah,
Halloween, and his crew, and Danny McBride,
Danny
by
McBride and all
proxy
them.
there
Yeah.
too. What we've found out, or a lot of us have known for a while probably, but I think it's nice to have these resurgences. Most comedy directors really like horror because there's
Yeah.
a fine line between laughing and there's a fine line between being scared, and they know how to skirt both, and that's why they tend to do better.
I have a I agree with that, and I'm sure that that's true the majority of the time. I also have another theory that goes along with that kind of where I'm not again, I can't speak for all comedians. Oh yeah, The Barbarian. Yeah, I want to check that out too. Um, I can't speak for all comedians, but like comedy is a big thing to me. Like I really appreciate comedies or comedians, and like it's been a part of my life since I was 8 years old, staying up late watching the HBO stand-ups and shit
Oh
like
man,
that. When you get into when you're outside of their specials and their stand-ups and you like learn about their actual lives and stuff, a lot of them really depressed or have a lot of inner demons.
yep.
So that realm of horror, they live that shit every day. You only hear the funny shit sometimes, you know. So uh I think that you're right that comedy and horror do go hand in hand. Um that's why I said I'm like I felt like such a dummy when I was just like, really? Danny McBride's working on something? Like that doesn't make any fucking sense. And then I was just like, okay, no, I was wrong. And then you sit there, like I said, when I was totally surprised to find out about all the shit that I did about Elijah Wood. Like we were talking about him earlier, and I'm like, shut the fuck up. And I'm like, and then just watching actual interviews and like his appreciation for film in general, I'm just like, it doesn't matter. It all walks of life. All walks of life.
And like we were talking about earlier, yeah, having a dark sense of humor kind of
Hmm.
washes those together, and that's why we one of the reasons probably why we appreciate it. But if I can go back to what Joe Bob said about Dario Argento. Dario Argento did a comedy in between doing horror.
I did not know that. Okay.
He did. I think it's called The Last Days of Milan. Um, it is not available anywhere. I've looked. There might be a DVD copy floating around, but I'll locate it. Maybe one day we'll do a surprise not horror thing.
Mhm.
But comedic timing can play into horror timing. But horror timing doesn't always play into comedic timing, and that was what Argento's problem was, because he had horror timing down, but he couldn't do comedic timing. But a lot of comedy, I mean, most comedy is time driven, so you have to have timing for your jokes to land and things. Scares have to have the same thing, and I think that also plays into it as well, where this is where the laugh should happen. Okay, scrub that. This is where the knife should happen. There's the horror element, and moving on. And
Mhm.
it's nice to know that some people are continuing that tradition. And I would watch Hysteria, the sequel to Suspiria, as
Yes.
long as Def Leppard did the soundtrack.
Um, but that's Jordan Peele. Like I said, I'm way more interested. Like I was already interested in him, but I'm way more interested now. But all three of his movies so far, I thought have worked great. Like I said, I think Us was a little bit harder to grasp the ideas that he was trying, but not all movies you're required to. So, um, but I just felt that if you didn't know what he was talking about, that the movie's just kind of like it was cool, but you're just like, I don't understand what I just watched, kind of thing. Like it was
No,
cool and weird. I just don't understand it. Um, Whereas Get Out and more so this, I was like, it was a little bit more accessible, and I dug it. I really dug it. I wonder if that's something he learned. Like, I wonder if he did Us and that was something that he heard or thought, and he kept that in mind. Like, don't go too crazy.
you got to get a couple more movies under your belt before you can go that level of crazy.
Yeah.
Oh, the same thing happened to Guy Ritchie when he started doing his crime movies. He did Revolver, which was a about your ego. It was very metaphorical, and nobody remembers it because it was so out there that at the end of the movie, there's a documentary that plays about the movie
Hmm.
over the credits.
Uh, did he do the one not too long ago that did not do very well? The Excalibur or King Arthur kind of fucking movie.
Yeah, he did it. I think it was a King Arthur
I
movie.
still want to see that movie. Like I heard I saw the trailer and I'm like, oh shit, this looks decent. And then I heard it was awful, and then I was like, that kind of took the wind out of me. But at the same time, I'm like, I still kind of want to see that shit. That and that fucking what was it, Duel or whatever with fucking Adam Driver and I think it was
Yeah,
something like that. I forget.
Matt Damon, wasn't it?
Yeah, yeah, I think it was him.
Who did the Green Knight? Because I didn't think that was Guy Ritchie.
Mm,
Guy Guy Ritchie did do The Gentleman though, and that was good. He got back to his bread and butter, which is English crime.
my absolute favorite though bit of his dialogue was from Snatch. He's like, he's the getaway driver. What the fuck can he get away from?
I still love. Why do they call him Boris the Bullet Dodger?
Because he dodges bullets.
The man knows how to write some snappy dialogue. He's the David Lowery. Oh, okay. Because I haven't seen either one of them, so it was uncharted territory for me.
Okay, here it was King Arthur: Legend of the Sword in 2017. Yeah, that's the one. I didn't get to see it, but it looked kind of interesting. But everybody said it was bad, so I don't fucking know. But one of these days I'll check it out. Is that? Oh no, that's somebody else. Anyway, um, but all in all though, Nope was fucking awesome. I highly, highly recommend it. Easy buy for me for sure. And I look forward to seeing Jordan Peele do some more shit.
Likewise.